The revised roadmap has raised more questions with candidates campaigning on radio, TV and social media. It has raised questions on who is to meet the costs of the airtime, fairness to all candidates, and how Electoral Commission will avoid clashes among the candidates since most radio stations are owned by politicians.
There is a need for us to engage with the media houses through the Ministry of Information, Media Council, and any other relevant body, so that all the candidates are given an opportunity, because these private media houses, they are in business. So I think there is a need for them to engage with the candidates at an agreed cost, and then they be allowed to go and articulate their views, and so on and so forth. But for us, as the Electoral Commission, we cannot come in to say we are ordering the media houses to do this.
Lining up to vote on the polling day will remain, but with the standard operating procedures like the social distance and washing of hands at the polling station.
The current law provides that polling shall be by an individual voter having been duly identified as a registered voter, as the genuine voter, and coming in a person to a polling station. So polling is going to remain a traditional or conventional way of voting as we have been doing in the past. However, the Commission will have to put in place the standard operating procedures at every polling station to ensure that the lives of the voters are safeguarded.
The Electoral Commission, however, cleared that even when COVID-19 persists, elections won't be postponed.
I have said, the Commission is driven by Article 61, Clause 2. That is the command. That is our master in the Constitution. It has already set the time. Supposing the Commission were to say, oh, because there is this fear, we wait until October. And then by the time you come up in October, you realize you do not have enough time. How will you address that command under 61? It does not give the Commission any room for maneuver, that we could not do it, sir, 61-2. We could not do it because of COVID. No, that's why we said we have been holding consultations with the Minister of Health before we came up with this revised roadmap.
The revised roadmap, especially use of media, however, has already been criticized by the civil society activists.
We are talking about campaigns through radio. Do we have a radio network across the entire country? We're talking about campaigns through internet. What is our internet penetration across the entire country? What is our telecommunications network across the entire country? How many people have access to smartphones that can receive messages over social media platforms that we are going to see many of these candidates attempting to use for the first time? So, and we know very well, a bulk of the voters actually live in the rural Uganda.
Kaheru also argues that it could be better to postpone the elections than the new proposals.
Ideally, a postponement, giving ourselves more time before the election, would have been the perfect choice. On the other hand, our constitution is so rigid that postponing an election is actually such a tedious task to undergo. In any case, it is the process that we have to go through in order to postpone an election is so intense that it cannot even be completed within the next 6 months.
However, all these conditions are due to COVID-19. But in case Uganda is declared COVID-free before the campaigns, the Electoral Commission is willing to amend the revised roadmap to allow the candidates to organize rallies. Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kampala.